with that, I'll turn it over to Andy, who is going to get us started.
Hi, afternoon, everyone. So my presentation here is titled, I need the clicker. So what can data tell us about the science of creativity? I'm specifically going to think about and look at this from the lens of how Facebook uses data to understand how video is being used not only by consumers on the platform, but also by advertisers on the platform as well. So I'm going to talk also just generally about how a big watershed moment happened for Facebook and video. So what was the moment at which consumers all of a sudden really jumped on the ability to upload videos on Facebook, and what did we see as a net effect in terms of the data that we saw on our platform as well? So this really goes back maybe a year and a half, maybe nearly 2 years ago. So in 2014, we started seeing a lot of huge amounts of uploads of videos on the platform. And it was really interesting where this originated from. So this actually originated from an area in the northeast of the US, in Boston. I'm not sure if anyone can guess what it is, but it's actually something that happened, and I think maybe a fair few of you might be familiar with this, but this was a scenario where everyone started uploading photos regarding the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. So hopefully some of you are aware of this, but this particular kind of meme that went around on Facebook really had the ability to influence people's kind of comfort levels and lowered their risk levels when it came to uploading video onto Facebook as a platform. So with this in mind and the general trend that we're seeing in terms of how advertisers and consumers are adopting and using Facebook in order to view videos, we're actually seeing now, especially for someone like ALS, what we saw was, I think within a period of around about 4 weeks, we had 17 million videos uploaded onto the platform associated with the ALS challenge. And I think all in all, the number of views that occurred for this particular video or anything connected to it was around about 4 billion views. So you actually got a huge sense of momentum around this. And as I said, this really lowered the threshold for consumers on the platform. So if we could, so if we could run the video very quickly, and I'll talk over the video. So if you kind of fast forward to now and understand how big advertisers on our platform, such as Coca-Cola or McDonald's, are utilizing the platform, we really see that this is a real big change. And I think we're all aware that mobile video is an area that is fast growing, and predictions are set to say that actually it will continue to grow by double digits for the next 10 years in terms of advertising revenue. So with this in mind and how consumers are embracing video and the kind of new technological developments we're doing around 360 video, viewing video on Messenger as a tool as well, how can we be confident that advertisers' messages are viewed in the right way, and are they having any impact? So the thing that we did here was we took, if we can end the video and then move to the next slide, that would be great. Yeah, so what we did here is we took a large data set of individual campaigns that ran in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and we've got some more global data as well, which I'll talk about towards the end. We analyzed campaigns that ran on Facebook for video, 68 campaigns across 6 different product categories in 10 different markets within the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region. And what we did here is we worked with a partner of ours, Metrics Lab, to do some analysis around how campaigns of these 68 actually performed. But before we did that, we looked at internal data. So obviously, when we're serving the ads on the platform, we get impression delivery information. We understand what proportion of the video gets watched. And if you look at some of the data that you see here, what we have is some scatter plots that show individual campaigns that have ran in the 68 campaigns that you saw just now. And what we see is that there is a negative correlation. So what you see, quite simply, is the longer the video, the less proportion of it is being watched. And we've known this for a while. I think most people have this hunch, but we still get advertisers and partners on the platform utilizing and doing great creative bits of work that are around about 3 minutes long, or even longer than that. So the common or the obvious thing that we're finding from this data is that the shorter the video that it is, the more likely it is to have the greater proportion of it being watched. And if you look at the chart on the right, if we then add on data for each of these campaigns that talk about whether the brand was recalled, so did someone who saw that media campaign actually recall the brand that was shown, what we're saying here is that actually video length, it doesn't really correlate to whether the recall of the campaign was strong or not. Effectively, what we're saying is the shorter the campaign, you'd still have an equal chance of being able to recall the brand of the particular campaign. And then when you look at whether video length is important in terms of the percentage of the video watched, so does a campaign or a video ad that is long, does that have a greater ability for people to remember the brand? Well, again, when we're looking at the data here, we actually think that anything less than 30 seconds, so even 10 seconds, is long enough to actually improve or somehow impact upon ad recall or brand recall. So the main point around this is really when advertisers come to Facebook as a platform, we have the data to look at this. What we see is that when people try to adapt TV creative to run on digital formats where a newsfeed environment is very kind of decided by how quickly someone scrolls through their newsfeed with their thumb, the thumb is really the arbiter of whether a campaign is successful or not, and the thumb is very, very ruthless when it comes to things that stand out and things that kind of stop your attention. So the thing that we did with Metrics Lab is we rated all the content and we looked at it across 2 dimensions, so impact index and response index, and there's various variables that within that. And when we plot the 68 campaigns into a scatter plot, we basically see that there's only a small proportion, only 12% of ads actually fall within an outstanding or satisfactory segment. And this is compared against the provider Metrics Lab's ongoing database of campaigns of video ads online and also TV ads as well. So effectively, we're seeing that the advertisers on our platform are not doing the same level of creative work, and this is kind of all borne out of the data that we collected here. So really, the 3 major takeaways are length. It is important. I think it is something that advertisers really need to understand. Duration under 30 seconds is more than enough. You really have to introduce your brand within the first 3 seconds of the ad. Feature the brand for more than half of the duration of the ad as well. This is something that we saw in terms of the commonalities of the campaigns that perform the best. And then craft is important as well. So the creative execution, I think we see this everywhere in every single media channel that you may work with. But message clarity is important and brand integration is really crucial as well. So if you get these 2 things right, it will really drive ad relevance and understanding as well. And then finally, quality. There is kind of not necessarily the best quality out there at the moment in terms of video ads on our platform. I think it was referenced slightly earlier today as well, but the data definitely suggests that. So we do think there's more that we can do to help advertisers improve that. So then just my final slide is really, we've definitely used a lot of the data that we've collected internally and worked with third parties to understand, but we've basically created some data-driven best practices for using video ads on our mobile newsfeed environment. And if you want to talk to me more off stage about this, I can definitely go into more information around personalization and how we're developing our continued testing as well. So thank you.